So January 6th, what was that about?
That was a total setup.
Was it set up by who?
By the left.
The left did January the 6th. Why?
They want to bring President Trump down. If they can get him in jail, then they don't have to worry about him.
During the whole thing was staged. They knew it was going to happen.
Who staged it?
Antifa. Black.
Antifa staged January 6th.
It wasn't Trump.
I think the Democrats were behind what went on at the Capitol. I think that they set up what went on at the Capitol.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal! We will never give up. We will never concede. And we're going to the Capitol.
I don't think Trump had anything to do with that. I think that was an event that was really set up by the Democrats.
You know, all those videos of the January 6th is under seal. Why is that under seal?
All the videos for January 6th are under seal. So those...
The one that they let us see, which people were walking around, you know, doing their own thing.
CNN caught up with Trump supporters during Trump's nationwide tour with Bill O'Reilly to get their thoughts on the January 6th riots. And unfortunately, some of the answers given during these on-the-street interviews were as crazy as you would expect them to be. Let's start with the first video.
January 6th attack was not the Republicans nor Trump. It was the Democrats were behind it all. They're the ones that caused it all.
Do you really believe that?
I know it, and there is no way that a Republican would act that way, and there is no way that Trump had anything to do with what happened on January 6th.
But what about all the Trump supporters that have been charged and indicted?
Because it's all Democratic judges and people that were on the take from the Democrats.
So ignore all of the Trump flags among the Capitol rioters, ignore what they were chanting, what they were marching over to the Capitol to do immediately after Trump's rally. It was the Democrats, allegedly. And by the way, I just want to give you some information about those pro-Democrat judges that the woman was alluding to here. You know, when it comes to all of those challenges to the election, more than 60 of those court battles. It turned out that it wasn't just Democrat appointed judges who decided to dismiss these allegations. It was also judges that were appointed by Donald Trump himself. Here's one headline, for instance: the most remarkable rebukes from Trump's legal case from the judges he handpicked. At least 9 Trump-appointed judges or Supreme Court shortlisters have declined to bolster his claims of election fraud. None have ruled in his favor. Cenk.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment about that woman. Look, I feel bad for her because it turns out, as we've learned recently, it's super easy to brainwash people. If you just have to say, hey, I'm one of you. Tucker Carlson puts on a flannel shirt, and then he goes, all those people are FBI agents plus left-wingers plus patriotic Republicans. And you just pick. And she happened to pick, oh, they're all left-wingers. But like, understand what she's saying. She's saying they then go to court, those theoretically left-wing people. They say in open court they're not left-wingers, they're Republicans. They support Donald Trump. In fact, they're mad that Donald Trump isn't paying their bills and all those things. So she thinks, I guess, that all of them are what? CIA agents, but they're willing to go to jail even though they look like real people and they've been traced back in their communities and people have fought for them. And now 56% of Republicans say that they were defending freedom. Nope, logic not required. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We know who they are. They're definitely Trump supporters.
And she's not. Look, sometimes when you see these man on the street interviews, oftentimes like you'll see reporters cherry pick like the most outrageous statements, but this is not an isolated person, of isolated case. This is actually pretty indicative of what the Trump base believes, or at least a significant portion of the Trump base. In fact, here's a UMass Amherst poll indicating that nearly a third, 31% of Republicans blame the Democratic Party for the violence at the Capitol. Antifa, the informal anti-fascist political activist group, was blamed by over 1/5, 22% of Republicans, while 16% blamed the US Capitol Police, who have reported that over 70 officers were injured in the siege.
So Black Lives Matter they opposed because they said Blue Lives Matter. Now they say it was the goddamn cops. They assaulted themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm shocked at how easy it is to brainwash people. Tucker Carlson, the night before, telling them cops are the greatest thing since sliced bread, as long as they're killing and beating up black people. The next night he comes in and goes, yeah, the cops suck, and they probably did the Patriot Purge of January 6th. The FBI did, the authorities did. Then they beat themselves up, and everybody goes, oh yeah, totally. We hate cops. What?
I mean,
what?
But like, are we really surprised? Isn't this? I mean, you see this happen with religion all the time, where they cherry pick certain things they like and reject and ignore parts of their religious doctrine that they don't like. So I'm not shocked with what's happening. And of course, this is all meant to propagandize people. And to your point about how you feel bad for the woman in that video, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that these are necessarily inherently bad people, but they have been indoctrinated by the media bubble, the filter bubble that they exist in. And I don't know whether there's gonna be anything done to kind of stop that or mitigate it. Certainly we haven't seen anything work in regard to trying to mitigate it. And everyone's super atomized and everyone is super like hardcore in their own political ideology and political bubble. It's ripping the country apart. By the way, that poll that I just shared with you, the UMass Amherst poll, is not the only one that had that kind of result. In fact, 41% of Republicans blame left-leaning groups for the violence on January 6th, according to another CBS poll. And it goes on and on, but I wanna, there we go. So here's another, the CBS poll that I'm referring to. Among all voters, 41% believe that the behavior that day was typical of most Trump supporters, but only 9% of Republicans believe that. But I wanna get to this next video because we do have some more for you. Let's take a look.
I think the whole reporting of it is a giant hoax. We are very peaceful people. So it was a total setup. To me, it was the FBI had set it up. I don't believe that they were Trump supporters that did that.
You said the whole thing's a setup. You don't really believe that, do you?
I do. I do. Because Trump won the election. They've proven it over and over again.
I really don't think Trump had much to do with it, and people that were supporters for him, some were involved, but I think they were enticed by the FBI.
So that's another one of the many theories that Trump supporters have. You know, it's Antifa, it was the Democrats, oh, it was the FBI, which, you know.
Yeah, I'm now at a point that I definitely feel sorry for these folks, and they're not gonna like that either. They're not gonna like that any better than me calling them idiots or crazy, but it's super obvious that they, of course they don't know what they're talking about. Do you think they went and saw the like, who the actual people are that are on trial and what they've said on social media, what they say to the judge? Do you think they read one of the 60 cases that Trump lost? That you saw them, they just said, oh, all the evidence shows that Trump won. Why? Because they're listening to right-wing media.
Exactly.
And right-wing media is just lying, just saying, oh yeah, Trump won. Oh, there's a lot of evidence. Show us one piece of evidence. You had 60 court cases. You didn't show one piece of evidence. It doesn't matter, I just say it and they believe me. And so, look, I've said this before, I give credit to the right-wing voters, okay? Yes, we're a left-wing show, but we're fair. They figured out step one, mainstream media is lying to you, and they're brainwashing you in favor of corporate rule. But on step two, they went dangerously awry. They're like, oh, I don't like mainstream media brainwashing me, so I'll have right-wing media brainwash me, right? And get me to believe in totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff, right? And make me look even more ridiculous. By the way, if you're smug neoliberal and you think, yeah, see, status quo is awesome. I read the New York Times. Brother, I got bad news for you. You didn't even get to step one. Okay, you still think, oh yeah, politicians are honest. I believe New York Times and CNN that the millions of dollars of bribes they take doesn't affect them at all. Now, you didn't even get to step one.
Hey everyone, as you all know, coronavirus has been pretty devastating for people's personal finances. The inaction in Congress or the very little relief that was provided by Congress, unfortunately, didn't do much to help small businesses that were really hurt by being forced to shut down in order to slow the spread of coronavirus. There are 100,000 small businesses that have been closed since the pandemic began. Some of you might feel helpless, but luckily there's this wonderful initiative known as the COVID Rescue Fund. So all you need to do is go to covidrescuefund.org and you'll learn more about how you can donate or how you can vote and promote your favorite small business. And really the whole point here is to offer generous grants to help these small businesses. The COVID Rescue Fund crowdsources up to $100,000 for each individual grant. So we're not talking about a small amount of money. You know, I've seen small businesses in my community shut down, and these are small businesses where I had relationships with the owners, and to watch them lose everything that they've worked so hard for has been absolutely heartbreaking. I really wanted to do something then, and I'm happy to see that there's an initiative that could help people get involved now. Go to covidrescuefund.org and donate. Let's come together and bring back as many small businesses as possible.